Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Democratic Senator from Oregon and member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Ron Wyden. It's good to have you on the show this morning, Senator.
Thank you for having me back.
So you're part of the bipartisan group that has called for more information on drones. You've tweeted saying that every American has the right to know when their government believes it is allowed to kill them. It does, though, remind me of debates from past administrations where the answer might be you would be affecting, impacting, perhaps even hurting our national security if we release too much information.
Well, that's right. And this has always been a debate about how we can ensure both our security and our liberty. And I simply believe that we can strike a better balance than we have in the past. Now, last night's step by the president is an encouraging one, but there's certainly a lot more to do.
What's your thought? The Wall Street Journal today came out with an editorial actually supporting the president on the drone issue and is concerned about the prospects of actually having a FISA-type court that you pass certain suggestions regarding drone strikes through judges. What's your position there?
Well, first of all, Joe, what a member of the committee can say about the details of the drone program are very, very restrictive. And in fact, in that clip that you all ran, I heard John Brennan mention twice remotely piloted aircraft. As far as I can tell, he has actually only used the word drones once in public. Now, what I'm going to be pressing for today and in the days ahead is declassifying more information about those issues. I think we can do it consistent with national security, and that's the next step.
Walter.
So Walter, the White House doesn't like to talk about the drone strikes, obviously. You even have Brennan, who doesn't like to use the word drone. Yesterday, Jay Carney was turning cartwheels to avoid getting specific. Doesn't there have to be more transparency if this is really going to be the center of our anti-terror program?
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point we have to decide what are we going to do as a nation and as a world to have certain protocols, certain rules of the road, certain rules of engagement for drones, just like we do for mines and atomic weapons and chemical and biological. I actually think that there is a very valid reason to use drones, to use pilotless aircraft in a war, when you have a declared war and you have a declared, targets. Right. But you want to have an open discussion of how we're going to put this into the context of the type of weapons we can and cannot use.
Al, you have a question?
I think, Senator, is it not a real opportunity for those of us that were concerned about the lack of transparency under George Bush and others to set policy now to show that we're going to have a policy where we're open as long as we're not compromising national security, and where civilians will not just be arbitrarily at risk with being killed by United States missiles?
Al, you and Joe are touching on the key point, and that's transparency and accountability. And you're absolutely right. This is the time. We're living in an age where, in effect, the military and the intelligence lines have really blurred. We've got to have much more robust congressional oversight, and I do think this all has to lead to a more informed public debate. Now, I was encouraged last night when the president called and he said, as part of this effort, he is going to try to drive a more extensive discussion about these issues. I think both you and Joe are touching on the fact that without transparency and without accountability, we can't strike the right balance between security and liberty.
Senator Donnie Deutsch, what am I missing here? What Americans are going to be targeted by drones unless it is such an extreme, definitive circumstance? Am I missing something here?
Well, Donnie, you can't get into the details of any operation, and that's why I pushed so hard for more than 2 years to actually see the legal analysis. I have felt that the committee, and there are 15 of us on the Senate committee, there's a House committee as well, we've really been in the dark on these kinds of issues. And by law, we are required to do vigilant oversight, and in a couple of hours, I'll be going in to look at the legal underpinnings of this program. We'll have more to say about it then.
Walter? Let me ask the Senator a question. Ron, are you more concerned about the possibility of Americans being targeted, or are you concerned most about the general use of drones without rules of the road?
Every American has the right to know when their government believes it's allowed to kill them. I don't think that, as one person said, that is too much to ask. And this idea that security and liberty are mutually exclusive, that you can have only one or the other, is something I reject. So we're now going to have to begin the heavy lifting of the Congressional Oversight process by examining the legal underpinnings of this program, and to make very clear, I am going to push for more declassification of these key kinds of programs, and I think we can do that consistent with national security.
Senator Ron Wyden, thank you very much. We'll be watching.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks for having me.